Their bodies, when found, had no intact parts. Both had been butchered, and although more than 2 weeks had passed since their death, and the bodies had become swollen and putrid, it was still clearly evident that both had been murdered in a horrific manner. The marks of numerous knife wounds and bullet holes were visible on the bodies and necks of both. The bodies belonged to a 27-year-old man and a 22-year-old woman who were on the verge of engagement. But on the 24th of Farvardin, they disappeared, and now their butchered bodies had been found outside the city of Abadeh. In the early hours after the bodies were found, Colonel Mohammad Reza Rezaei, the police commander of Abadeh, spoke about the motive for the murder. The cause and motive for the murder in the preliminary police investigations was theft, but the tragedy of this crime went beyond murder due to the theft of gold and money. The forensic report definitively determined that the girl was raped before her death. Hello friends, welcome to the Confession channel. You are watching and listening to another case from our series of videos. The case of the rape and murder of Aeinaz Hasseli Hagigi and Alizareh Emami in the city of Abadeh. If you are interested in confession reports from criminal cases, we would be delighted. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell next to it so you don't miss new videos. On the 24th of Farvardin this year, which is 1404 in the Iranian calendar, 2 missing persons cases were reported in the city of Abadeh, and it quickly became clear that they were related. The first was a 22-year-old girl named Aeinaz Hasseli Hagigi, and the second was a 27-year-old man named Alizareh Emami. Both individuals had left their homes on the afternoon of the 24th of Farvardin and had not been heard from since. Aeinaz and Ali were friends and had even made some promises regarding engagement and marriage. Their families were aware and were informed about everything, but suddenly they disappeared. In the initial hours of their disappearance, the families did not go to the police and tried to find them on their own because they felt the two might have gone somewhere together. But as the night turned to morning and there was still no news of them, the families reported them missing and the investigation to find them began. Days came and went one after another, and there was no news of either Aeinaz or Ali. These two, they had just gone out to have dinner, but it was as if they had vanished into thin air. More than 2 weeks had passed since their disappearance, and with efforts and searches to find them hitting a dead end, tracking their mobile phone signals was taken as the last resort, and this time it yielded results. A bitter and painful result. The bodies of Lato Paro, Degun, Aeinaz, and Ali were found on May 3rd, 2025. Through tracking their mobile phone signals on the refractory clay mine road outside the city of Abadeh. The tracking of the mobile phone signals of these two individuals showed that the last time the phone was on, it had a signal in an area outside the city, known as the refractory clay mine road. Using this tracking, the police found the bodies of both individuals. The bodies were transferred to the forensic department, and with the investigations conducted, the mystery of this horrific crime was unveiled. Alizareh Emami was murdered by gunshot and stab wounds, and Aeinaz Hasseli Hagigi was also killed by stab wounds. However, before her murder, Aeinaz was assaulted. The approximate time of death was also on the 24th of Farvardin, the same day these two individuals went missing. The hypothesis of the crime was formed in such a way that this girl and boy were caught on their way back home, and the perpetrators intended to assault Aeinaz. Ali tried to stop them, and they first shot Ali. Then they carried out their malicious intent and assaulted Aeinaz. In the end, they killed both of them with multiple stab wounds. The dimensions of this crime were so horrifying that a team of expert detectives from the Fars Provincial Center was dispatched to Abadeh to find the perpetrators of the murder and assault. And almost all police resources and capacities were utilized, which soon yielded results. The police, by tracking the license plates of cars in that area and around the approximate time of the murder, identified a suspicious vehicle that had been stopped for more than 3 hours in that zone and was out of the view of traffic cameras. This means the first camera recorded the movement of this vehicle, and while the vehicle should have been recorded by the second camera, about 10 minutes later it passed under the second camera, about 3 hours later, indicating it had stopped for about 3 hours in the area between these two cameras. Had stopped. This area was where the crime had occurred, and the bodies of Ali and Aeinaz were found. The vehicle in question, with its two occupants, namely 40-year-old Salman Javadian and 22-year-old Aryan Zar, was identified, and an arrest warrant was issued for both. as potential suspects in this crime. But it quickly became clear that both individuals had left home 2 weeks ago, claiming they had found work in another town. This fleeing of the suspects strengthened the hypothesis of their involvement in the murder and assault, and ultimately, by tracking the car's license plate and their mobile signal, they were surrounded and arrested in a remote area outside the city of Abadeh. The suspects attempted to flee when confronted by the police and even fired warning shots in the air to try to escape. However, in the end, when they realized they couldn't escape, they put down their weapons, surrendered and confessed to the details of their horrific crime. The confessions of Salman Javadian and Aeinaz are so shocking that they send shivers down anyone's spine. The people of Abadeh County, upon hearing the details of this crime, gathered in front of the governor's office and the judiciary, chanting for both individuals to be punished in public as soon as possible, and they won't calm down. The perpetrators of the crime confessed that they saw Ali and Aeinaz in a secluded place while they were talking. Those two, who were extremely drunk and not in a normal state, had a sinister thought and approached them under the pretense of asking for directions, suddenly pulling out a weapon and threatening that they must assault Aeinaz. They didn't think Ali would resist and that things would escalate to this point. They had calculated that by threatening with a weapon they would assault the girl and leave. But Ali, in an attempt to save Aeinaz from those two monsters, attacks them and the first shot is fired. The bullet hits Ali's leg and Aeinaz's screams reach the sky. But those two devils, neither Ali's severe bleeding nor Aeinaz's screams and cries, brought them to their senses. Like two possessed and uncontrollable people, they wanted to complete their crime. For this reason, while Ali was bleeding and groaning, they went after Aeinaz. They threatened the poor girl with murder, tied her hands, stripped her and raped her one by one. Ali, with his bullet hit and wounded leg, tries once again to stop them, but this time they stab him with a knife. The knife stabs were so deep and severe that it left him gasping for breath. These two are the lowest of the low. When they were done with this, they realized Ali had lost his life. That's why they made the second crime even more bitter and brutal than the first, to leave no trace or witness. The first knife stab was thrust into Ain's neck from behind, and after the poor girl fell to the ground, they struck her several more times until Ain, alongside the boy with whom she was supposed to build a future, lost her life and passed away. Aeinaz and Salman Javadian are currently held in the detention center on charges of premeditated murder, rape and theft, and due to the high sensitivity of the case, an order has been issued for their charges to be addressed out of turn. Given the horrific dimensions of the crime and the proven charges along with the explicit confessions of the accused, their death sentence is definitive. We just have to wait until the trial is held to see how the sentence will be carried out, and whether the request of the people of Abadeh for a public execution will be fulfilled or not. Thank you for staying with us until now. Please share your thoughts with us at the bottom of this page, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, support us and our activities by subscribing.